Hello, everybody. We're back together again on a Friday afternoon. I'm Glen Kellaway from the basement, Randall Nelson, MASSEY'S, Maine Entertainment, a.k.a. Brian. We thought we'd, in the spirit of the 4th of July and Independence Day, and yes, we would do our favorite bands today. So that's the topic. Anybody that wants to play along in the chat, feel free to, as we go along. We're going to go 10 down to 1, and we'll take turns. We'll be glad to recognize your entry as we go along. Guys, how's it going?
It's going real good.
It is going.
Awesome.
I'm doing this and then finishing up my stuff for my trip.
Nice vacation.
Sneaking out of this state.
Yep. Brian won't be with us this week, so we'll have to come up with a topic. Maybe we'll go back to sports. Maybe we'll do movies. We don't know yet. So
yeah,
stay tuned. Anything else before we get into our list? I just want to comment on. I want to congratulate Roberts on my turntable for reaching 1,000 subscribers. That's one thing I want to single out.
Oh, nice.
Also, yeah. JJ22, want to welcome him back. He's been out 2 months with a medical issue, and he's back in the VC. So cool there.
And let's give Jason, the old millennial, a shout out for he's doing a contest to try and get his subscribers up too. So go in and
Jason,
help
the
Jason.
Old millennial.
Yeah,
he's trying to reach 100. Check his contest out. Definitely sub him. Let's get him to 100. He's been stuck at 55 for a while. I think he reached 7 this morning, so he's making steps.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm glad to see that too. Sam St. John is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Howdy, partners, and Brian.
I threw some shade Sam's way for his ranking of the Madman Across the Water songs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I avoided that. I didn't see that ranking yet.
I just watched it. I mean, I kind of, I wasn't going to say anything, but then I was like, well, I kind of owe him for putting Visions of Johanna way down there on Blonde too. So
yeah,
I threw that out there.
Yeah,
what he does?
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, he buried it, and then like Visions of Johanna, he buried it.
Yeah, Sam's good at burying stuff. He's like the bear. He's the. We should call him the funeral director or the undertaker.
The undertaker.
He puts it to rest.
Nice.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block. So I could tell you a story. We got a quick time for a story for Backstreet Boys. My daughter Stephanie was like maybe 16 when they were big, and she was a huge fan. And they were in Toronto filming a commercial, and it was my daughter's birthday. It wasn't her 16th. It was another, whatever the year it was. Doesn't matter. So I said, because at that time there was a hotel downtown in Toronto that if you were a celebrity, that's kind of where you stayed. So after supper, we're all sitting around, and I said, why don't we go down to the hotel and see if they're around? So we drive down there. We're standing in the lobby, and this woman's sitting there, and she says, "Are you? What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, we're just kind of hanging out, seeing if the Backstreet Boys are here." And she says, "Yeah, they are here." And she said, "They're on their way now." And she said she had some connection to the band. So we wait around for about 15 minutes, and the 5 of them come walking in the door. And my daughter's like seeing the Beatles in 1964 to her. Yeah. And she's like crying, and she got her picture taken with all of them, and just nice. So I was super dad that night.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice event. Yeah.
Personable guys.
Yeah, they were great with her. Yeah, they all. Yeah. That was very cool.
When they first.
So I got a soft spot. Yeah, they were huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were huge. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, anybody wants to play along, we'll take your pick after we get to ours. The order today is going to be Glenn, Randy, Brian, and myself. Just going to go count it down. And what we're doing is 10 favorites, not necessarily the best or the most influential or the most important or list. We're doing favorites, what we go to, what we listen to the most in American bands. If you have one Brit or foreigner, you're disqualified immediately. So hopefully we won't run into that.
Yeah,
But it's all fun.
If you didn't have an American birth certificate, you're not allowed on this list.
That's right.
That's what we're trying to do. So
who's going to be our birther guy? Who's going to be our?
I had the Monkees high up on my list until it was mentioned that Davy Jones might be British. That might not have been a phony accent, and so I had to quickly replace the Monkees.
There you go. I'll kick it off, Glenn. What do you have at 10?
What do you got?
At 10, I've got the Lovin' Spoonful.
That's a great pick.
That's good.
A hits machine in the 60s. They just had so many great songs. And their albums are really solid. They're not just like filler, like the old days that a hit like Daydreaming and the rest of the songs would be crap and you'd just buy it for the hit song. These albums are really good. The Do You Believe in Magic album and this album, there's some great blues stuff on there and some great pop songs and jug band stuff, whatever they were into. But I was a big fan of the Lovin' Spoonful, and they had, I don't know how many hit records they had. They had a ton.
So, a ton. They weren't around that long. I think 65 to 68, they were gone.
Yeah.
So real short span, but good pick.
I still listen to them all the time. I love them.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I like it. All right, Randy, what do you have at 10?
I have Talking Heads. You got David Byrne, who could play about everything and had the weird stage presence. And they had probably one of the best live albums, and it stopped making sense. But and you had Chris Franz on drums and Jerry Harrison on keys and Tina Weymouth on bass. But all of these guys could play other instruments. They were just pretty unbelievable musicians. And that's my 9. I'm in my 10.
I like that. If anybody's been watching my music videos lately, I'm a big David Byrne fan. That's a great pick, Randy.
Yeah, Brian's been loading up on Talking Heads every year in the 80s, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right,
hey,
Brian.
Hold on a second. Josh, DMV. Yeah. John Candy is Canadian.
Okay.
Can't do that. Disqualified.
I got to redo my list then. Can we pause?
No soup for you.
All right, Brian, number 10.
I admit that my list is probably going to be a little bit more contemporary maybe than the other guys, but I wanted to kind of include some stuff that I've listened to over the, in bands in the last 20 years or even 30 to make sure they've got some representation. Rather than have Nirvana at number 10, I have Pearl Jam because I think Pearl Jam's catalog is much more consistent. They've been around producing and making albums since 91. Some of their band members were in other grunge bands before that, but since just their album 10 would have been warranted enough, for a lot of people to like to get them really high up for a American rock band. But they've got Yield, they've got Binaural, they've got Versus, they've got Vitology, they've got a ton of albums, and I think that their catalog is vastly underrated. So I included somebody from the 90s grunge, but it wasn't Nirvana. I took Pearl Jam.
Very good. That's what we want to hear. Diversity. Does Fleetwood Mac count? No, they do not.
No.
Too much British background with McPhee and Fleetwood and Kristen and.
Check their birth certificates. That's all you got to do.
Yep, that's all you got to do. Thank you, Basil, for joining us. How you doing? My number 10. Yeah, it's just kind of a schmaltzy pick, but I'm taking them anyway. The Beach Boys, just because they're that big at the time and fun, and the 60s, I think of the Beach Boys more than any other American band, probably in the early to mid 60s. They were fighting it off with a lot of those British bands from the whole British invasion, and a lot of Motown, of course, was going on. But the Beach Boys held up the American, actually, rock band. Things got heavier into the late 60s, but just strings of hits, like Glen was talking about, the Lovin' Spoonful Boys were in a league of their own as far as American bands and hit making. So I'm going to take them at number 10. And I still do listen to them occasionally. And I'm drawn to their earlier work. I'm into the more spacey, experimental stuff. I like those hits, the Help Me Rhondas and the California Girl and Fun, all that stuff that came out. So that's my number 10. What's up? Let me see if there's anybody in the chat that wants to throw in a pick before we get to number 9. Stevie,
Well, you can't. She's not a band.
She's not a band. We're doing bands. We're not doing solo artists. The Monkees are up there. Yeah, the Monkees are up there, but they have a British band named Davy.
Yep. They got a significant member.
Yes, you have to lay out the
rules. Got to be a band, and they have to have American birth certificates.
Now it can be an artist that's so and so, and if their band comes in with them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Their name.
All right. We're caught up in the chat. Glenn, number 9.
Number 9. How can the Allman Brothers Band not be on anybody's list of the greatest American bands ever? I mean, maybe arguably the greatest live album ever, live at the Fillmore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Duane Allman, top 2-3 guitarists of all time. Greg Allman, amazing vocals. That whole band's amazing. Dickie Betts. So many great records. Allman Brothers.
Yes, Basil. The Beach Boys. They made my list already. I don't know if they'll make anybody else's, but
I'm glad you picked them, Glenn. But they're Rich will tell you, jam bands are just really not my cup of tea. I want to get into them because they're great musicians, but they're mostly known for these big long live albums and these. They take a song that's like 7 minutes long and makes it 20.
I love that.
And you love it. And for me, I've just never been able to get that. I've never been able to do that because I'm not a musician myself. I think maybe because you're a musician, that's why you probably love it even more. I
agree. There's something to that.
Yeah, there's got to be something to that. Yeah.
Randy, number 9.
Number 9, I'm going with the Byrds.
Nice.
This is their album, Ballad of Easy Rider, but Roger McGuinn was the only one still around at this time. Even they started out with Gene Clark, amazing vocalist, and David Crosby on rhythm, and he sang too. And you got Chris Hillman bass, he can sing. Michael Clark on drums. But what was amazing about them is that Roger McGuinn playing that 12-string Rickenbacker.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a lot of Dylan tunes, and to me, they were just an amazing group.
Yeah. I mean, they were considered the American Beatles at one time, right? 65, 66. Yeah.
It was like a band like the Byrds makes me wish we could have done a top 20. That's that's they were right there on the cusp for me, Randy, and I just
they just missed mine too. They're like an honorable mention and should have been in the list actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
All right, cool. Brian.
Number 9 for me is an even more contemporary band. I'm just a big fan of this band. I've got all their stuff on album now because I just picked up the one album that I was missing of theirs, Delta Cream, which is an all blues cover album. I've got the Black Keys.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I love their sound. Their album Brothers and El Camino and True Blue. Mm-hmm. They got such a great sound. Kind of a garage lo-fi band. I'm always interested, even like when Dan Auerbach, he does a lot of producing too. I'm even interested in whenever he's producing other artists because I like the genuine sound of the instruments, and you just don't get that from a lot of contemporary bands anymore. And I'm glad that they're doing it still.
Yeah, that's awesome pick. I forgot about them. They are great. Yeah,
very good. Well, old school. I'm going to go number 9. I'm going to take Chicago. Especially that Chicago Transit Authority, that first album and the second one.
Yeah.
They got up to a bang. They mixed in a lot of brass into their production and 3 different lead singers, 3 different songwriters. Terry Kath, one of the great guitar players of our time. I just love early Chicago into about the mid-'70s. Then it got a little schmaltz and little saccharine for my taste. But overall, listen to, 25 or 6 Make Me Smile and Beginnings and those first couple of albums in particular. So they're going to make my list at number 9. Now we're getting into the chat. Once we go back to Glenn, we've got Doc here. Don't love 80s, but Aerosmith based on 70s alone would make my list. Yeah, the hard rocking guys in the VC would definitely pick Aerosmith. Aerosmith, Van Halen, and Kiss. I know Gary and Jeff and those guys, they all love those bands. Monkeys can't be the top 10. Davy Jones is British. Yeah, we went through that. Pet Sounds, great album. Exactly. That's okay, Basil. What do you have from Sam? Sam's with the one-liners here.
I screwed it up too, Basil.
Jack White said the Keys ripped him off.
Well, I don't think musically they did, but I think just the format of the drummer and the guitar player. I mean, that's the only really thing they have in common, I think.
Yeah, I've got mad respect for Jack White too. I mean,
me too. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There you go. Eater, great album. Jesus, just all right. Fido, title track. And Sam agrees with you, Brian. Not a jam guy.
Except for Apple Jam. He likes that.
How was that?
No, it's Apple. Oh, it's freaking good,
butter.
man. I just had some.
Oh, cool.
Before I came down.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a nice gift.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8. Glen Kellaway from the Basement, number 8.
Okay, you guys know I'm a big 60s San Francisco guy, and this is the band that kicked it all off for me, the Jefferson Airplane. When I heard Surrealistic Pillow, that was just it for me. One of the most important albums in my life for me that turned me on to music. But I picked After Bathing at Baxter's just to show because it's the first one I grabbed off the shelf. But love Jefferson Airplane. Surrealistic Pillow's top 10 album for me of all time. I think their albums are amazing. So very slick.
I figured they'd show up on your list. We were talking about that last night. All right, cool. Randy.
Number 8. I don't actually have any. There's on.
Wow, I forgot about the Doors.
Vinyl, but the Doors. You had Ray Manzarek making the organ, something big in rock music. They had such atmospheric songs with how they used the organ in their music, and then you got Jim Morrison with his kind of strange vocals. I just love the Doors. But
yeah,
you want number 8?
Yep.
I completely forgot about them when I was doing this list. Isn't that funny?
It's because you were fixated on the Monkees.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Brian, what do you got?
Like Randy, he's already mentioned them. I've got Talking Heads here. I think an all around since their debut album, 77. I think that they just put together quality work, a great mix of kind of post punk and funk and world beat music. I think they're just an incredible band. David Byrne is one of my favorite musicians now, and some of the side work that he does with Brian Eno from Roxy Music is incredible. So I want to include Talking Heads in my top 10.
Very good. I'm on the page as Randy this time. He's the Doors. I had to have them. Just 6 albums with Jim Morrison. All of them are fine in their way. Some better than others, but just a wonderful blend of that poetry that Morrison come up with, and I love Manzarek on there too, and Robbie Krieger's an guitarist as well. They had the whole thing going on, the 4 guys, and I love that last album, LA Woman. Riders on the Storm,
arguably their best.
Yeah.
So they're at number 8 for me. We're pretty much caught up in the chat, I think. Oh, we have a couple comments. The Doors wouldn't make my top 10. They've never clicked with me. Maybe one day. I'm starting to like a couple of Doors songs. Yeah, check the Doors out, Basil.
Yeah.
I think you'll.
Yeah. LA Woman album. Check out that album. That's a great album.
I think that's probably the most solid all the way through, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But some of them have little gems in them. All the albums do.
Incredible songs. Great albums.
And their greatest hits. If you get that greatest hits package, it rivals any of the monster ones like CCR, the Stones. It's loaded front to back.
It is.
All right, we're
number 7. I don't know if you guys are going to have this one on. Another one of my favorite bands because they're so different from every other band and always interesting. Spirit from LA. If you've never heard this album, The 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus, you should.
Yes.
It's frigging fantastic. And they've just reissued it, actually, on a CD, an anniversary issue with a whole new mastering and everything. It sounds really cool. But this album's fantastic. It's kind of a mix of so many, like pop and folk and rock and soul. All of a sudden they come in with the horns, and all the songs flow together. It's a bit psychedelic in some spots. It's just a masterpiece of a record. So Spirit, and they've got so many great records out. Great band.
I like the one guy. Is he maybe the lead singer? Randy California. What?
Yeah, sadly drowned. Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But that's such a cool '60s name, Randy California.
Randy California. Yeah.
All right, Randy from Kansas City. What's up?
All right. I think maybe nobody's going to have this band either. That's out of Minnesota, The Replacements. This is their album, Pleased to Meet Me. I love Paul Westerberg. I like his solo stuff too. But this is the album where they started out kind of post-punk and really more punkish than some of the first couple albums. And this is the album where they really started experimenting with other music, and they have a couple of jazzy type tunes even on there. And this is after Bob Stinson, who was a guitarist, kind of got kicked out of the group because of his drug problems, and he later, I think, OD'd. But there was just the three of them before they hired another guitarist. But this is, I think, their best album. Pleased to Meet Me.
I think that's their best album too, Randy. I love Skyway off of that.
Oh, that's great.
It's a great one. It's great tune.
That's another band I've wanted to get into too. They're kind of on my list.
I've heard some of their stuff and I do like it. I just haven't dove in yet. That's the thing.
That's an album, I think.
That's the one, huh?
Yeah, it's accessible enough. Yeah.
Cool.
For me, I got to thank Rich for this one, because it was a band that really I wasn't into, 2 years ago, and I ended up actually sitting down doing a top 10 with Rich for it. I got Steely Dan here.
Oh,
what I mean, this was a band that was not even on my radar at all. And once I started listening to them, Can't Buy a Thrill is my favorite album by them. And I know a lot of people would say Aja or something else, but the production quality and the musicianship, these guys are just absolutely on another level. And
absolutely,
they quickly rose in my ranks, and Can't Buy a Thrill is in my top 50 albums of all time. So I wanted to include Steely Dan here. I think they're incredible.
That's a great pick. Yeah, everything they do is just like you say, it's at another level. It is. It's always interesting. Yeah, musically, it's genius almost. Like, I mean, they are really amazing bands.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever listened to Walter Becker's solo albums?
I haven't.
No, I've listened to Fagan.
He's got one called Circus Money that you guys got to check out. First of all, the CD was recommended to me as one of the greatest sounding CDs, well-produced CDs ever. And when I brought it home, it blew me away how good the production is on it. And it's a really cool album. You should check it out if you can find it.
Well, Donald Fagen's Nightfly, they used to play that in stereo all the time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Their equipment.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great pick. Right?
Happens to be my number 7 as well. Steely Dan. Love them. All their albums are really, really good. I'm partial to Asia and the Royal Scam, but I love Can't Buy a Thrill, and Pretzel Logic, and Katie Lied. They're all great. So, and it is the production. They bring in these session musicians to really add a little flair here with great guitars, sound, whatever it takes. They have that jazzy fusion, pop, rock, jazz. They do it all, and they're definitely top 10 for sure. Number 7 is where they fall. And
I'm a big fan of their live album too. You ever heard of it called Live in America? They put out I got it on CD. It's really good.
Is
really
it?
Good. Yeah.
Leonard Skinner. Well, they may be coming up for me, Doc. So hang in there.
Oh, Skinner! I forgot about Skinner.
Yeah, I'm a big Skinner guy.
Yeah.
Steely Dan is great. From Josh. Pretzel Logic is yep. What about the Turtles?
Turtles, yeah.
I love the Turtles. They had their moment, but I don't think they're making my list, but maybe somebody
No.
else. All right, number 6, Glenn.
Number 6, Sam's going to hate me for putting this one so low, but Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
There you go.
Just what can you say about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers? I mean, this is a greatest hits album, and it's titled for a reason. I mean, there's like every song on this thing's a hit. Mike Campbell's one of my favorite guitar players, so the Heartbreakers, are just as integral to that sound as Mr. Petty himself. So that's why that whole band needs to be in the list.
I agree. Great American rock and roll. All right, Andy.
Well, I'm going to say that I actually didn't. I probably should have put Steely Dan on there. I didn't. A lot of it I thought is, they're always using different studio musicians as but they would definitely be considered. But Katie Lyde's actually, I think, my favorite Steely Dan.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all good. All right, my number, what am I on 6? The Blasters. They actually had an album called American Music, and I think
I got to write that down.
Alvin, what's his name?
Dave
Alvin. Phil Alvin.
Yeah.
Phil Alvin, I think, is
okay.
one of the best singers. This is an album that has you got Phil Alvin on vocals. You got Dave Alvin's amazing guitarist. They have, like a lot of brothers, they have problems and later broke up after that. But Bill Bateman on drums and John Baz on bass, and Gene Taylor also played the keys. He's not listed here, but he passed away just recently, I think in the last year. But Blasters were just great American rock and roll.
What album do you recommend, Randy?
American Music, probably.
American Music. I'm writing this down.
The Blasters, because I know JT, that's one of his favorite bands, and the Replacements, of course. I got to start listening to some music here.
I love that we're picking some kind of obscure stuff. This is great. I love this because I love getting turned on to stuff.
Yeah.
And Phil Alvin did a great solo album called Unsung Stories, where he takes these old songs from the 20s, and he just makes a modern rock song kind of out of them. And
I'm writing that down too.
Okay, Brian, number 6.
Number 6 for me, and despite how the dude may feel, I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I'm gonna steer clear. I'm gonna say though that it's everything with the Eagles from the long run before. Anything after the long run really doesn't count in my book. Right. So, and then Long Run is my favorite album. Rich knows this. I mean, I think it's just a great album. They've got basically a lot of almost all their albums. You can definitely find 6 or 7 tracks that you like off of each one of them. And just wildly consistent. I mean, I know that their greatest hits albums, both Volume 1 and Volume 2, stayed in the Billboard Top 200 for an eternity, and it's always listed in the catalog Billboard charts as the best, one of the best-selling albums from week to week, probably still today. It's just one of those bands that's got the longevity and they've got the catalog. They deserve to be ranked right here. So,
excellent pick. That'd be probably on my list a little higher. For me is Leonard Skinner that Doc mentioned. Southern rock. Allman Brothers are more important and influential, but I just like Skinner's music better. I just like that down south kind of rock and roll. And Ronnie Van Zant was a great frontman for that band. And,
hold on a second. I think Ronnie Van Zant was from Puerto Rico. No. Can you hear his accent?
But their first 5 albums until the plane crash, just awesome. I don't know what to say. They had a triple guitar attack, and
I was a huge Skinner fan. I don't listen to them too much anymore, but I was a huge fan back in the day.
Yeah, I still listen to them. There's Gary saying Aerosmith. Yeah, I know there's a lot of Aerosmith fans out there. Plus Alice Cooper Band. There's another one.
And I wouldn't put Aerosmith in my top 100.
Oh, that hurt.
Ooh,
yeah, I wouldn't.
I
don't like them. Yeah, Ryan Adams, and the Cardinals, yeah.
We have some feedback here from Sam St. John. Skinner is so overdone down here. I just can't get into him. Yeah,
there's a lot of guys Sam can't get into. We should have a chat and put Sam on the couch. Like we'll be like psychiatrists and say, Sam, tell us.
He doesn't like overplayed stuff. If it's on classic rock radio, he gets burnt out. Like
don't listen to the radio. Don't listen to the radio. That's the way to do that. There's lots of ways to listen to music. Turn the radio off.
That's fine. Okay, we're down to the top 5. Breaking in at number 5, Glen Kellaway.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Another hits machine. He is now what was that? Glenn not putting Aerosmith in the top 100. He is now
no idea.
I don't know either. I think he didn't want to be too rude.
He edited himself.
I know I'm alone with the Aerosmith. Like everybody loves Aerosmith. And that's cool. I just not a fan.
CCR,
Creedence,
baby.
CCR. How many hit songs? I mean, this album, Cosmos Factory, is like a hits album. It was just
my favorite.
Geez, traveling band, looking out my back door, run through the jungle, up around the bend. Who'll stop the rain? Heard it through the grapevine. As long as I can see the light. They were all singles.
Yeah.
Off of one album. The only other band I can think I don't even know if the Beatles did that.
Probably not.
It's incredible. Like yeah. Fogerty they controlled the airwaves for a few years.
Doc figured out what he wanted to say here. It says, Glenn is now not a fellow countryman.
No, I'm a Canadian. Yeah.
Wow, the daggers are flying, baby.
Yeah.
Citizenship's been revoked.
Yeah, damn.
JT, Renata, the Blasters, the Replacements, Grateful Dead, the Doors, Sir Douglas.
Oh,
Quintet,
love that Sir Douglas
Bad Religion. I like that Bad Religion pick.
Love the Sir Douglas Quintet pick. Wow.
Very cool. All right, Randy, what do you have at 5?
5, I'm picking REM.
REM.
Yep, where is this guy at? This is the EP Chronic Town. I love their early IRS stuff, especially. But you had Michael Stipe writing a lot of these lyrics that are kind of like almost stream of consciousness, because you have half the time you don't. What is he talking about? But I just loved the Replacements with, or not the Replacements, REM. Peter Buck on guitar and Bill Berry on drums, Mike Mills playing bass. Yeah. And he also plays piano on some of those beautiful songs like Electrolyte. But REM's my number 5.
Well, I love that pick, Rich. I love that pick.
I know. I'm sure that was last time we REM. I can guarantee that one. All right, what do you have, Brian, at number 5?
Basil, thanks.
Number 5 for me. This is where I've got the Doors. I've got them in the top 5.
Okay.
I just wildly influential for psychedelic rock, and their sound, like somebody said it, it's got that really ethereal, airy kind of sound to it that I really love. LA Woman, top 20 album for me. I go back to it, listen all the time. The song "The Changeling" is just absolutely fantastic.
Take care, Doc.
I suggest anybody, like, if you want to start with the Doors, don't start with the debut record. Start with LA Woman. That's how I feel about them anyway. So I put them in the top 5. They deserve it.
Yeah, great pick. So 3 of the 4 of us had, which is cool.
Yeah, Doors are leading for the most amount of votes so far.
Right now they're in the driver's seat.
Yep.
My number 5 is a personal pick. I took America just because it takes me back to those early acoustic, kind of laid back, kind of early 70s days. I like the 3 guitar guys, Dan Peake, Jerry Beckley, and Dewey Bunnell. Made a great team, put out 5 solid albums, and then they sort of ran out of material, or one of the guys left, and they were the same again. They still tour to this day, and good show concerts. Take America as my number 5, just because it's something I listen to a lot. So that's the main reason. Not that they're a landmark band, but they're just a personal favorite. All right, 4, Glen What do you have it for?
Well, this is one of my current picks. The Tedeschi Trucks Band. Susan Tedeschi and Derek Trucks. Derek Trucks, amazing slide guitar player. Susan Tedeschi's got an incredible voice. Sounds kind of like a heavier version of Bonnie Raitt for vocals. Mm-hmm. And this band's amazing. And this album is one of the greatest live albums ever. I just brag this up as much as I can. It's them doing the Layla album, the Derek and the Dominoes album, in its entirety live at Locken Festival with Trey Anastasia from Fish as a guest artist on it. And man, they do this album. This is better than the Layla album, which I think is one of the great guitar albums of all time.
I don't know.
Oh, have you heard that?
I haven't heard it, but I have a hard time believing that.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, listen to it, and you tell me it isn't just as good. You got to listen to it.
Layla is one of Randy's favorites, so it's going to be a hard sell.
Well, I'm telling you, listen to that album. It's amazing. And they've got a new project out, 4-album series. It's coming out, one album coming out every month. It started in June. Second one just came out. It's called I Am the Moon. The first 2 are just out now, and just amazing records. I picked the first one, Crescent, as my album of the year so far. So,
wow,
just a great band. If you're not familiar with them, check them out.
Okay, cool. All right. Randy, 4.
All right, number 4. Sam will be happy with this. I got Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That's their album. You're going to get it. But just American Heartland band, what they call Heartland rock, with Mike Campbell playing the lead guitar parts and Tom Petty, just an amazing vocalist. And Sam said they never made a bad song. I don't know if that's true, but they have some great tunes, especially on that album there.
Yep. For sure. All right, Brian, number 4.
Number 4 for me, I'm going to go a little bit punk here, and I'm going to go with the Ramones here. Yeah, they're between their debut record and Rocket to Russia. I just think that they've got a great sound, and their influence on the genre is just absolutely incredible. It's not like you got to spend a whole lot of time dissecting lyrics, because you've only got about 1.5 to 2 minutes on every track, man. So you better just try to read along as fast as you can go, because the next song's starting right away, man. But
buckle up. Yeah.
I think the Ramones deserve to be here. I think we needed somebody from the punk genre to represent a little bit, and these guys deserve it.
Cool.
Check out Rocket to Russia, guys. Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the Ramones. I'm just not a major fan. It's not something I go out of my way to listen to, but I do enjoy those quick little bursts of energy that they give you. Fun. My number 4 is Creedence Clearwater Revival. No doubt about it. John Fogerty, one of our songwriters and guitar players and vocalists. He's the force behind them. They had a nice little tight band with Doug Clifford and Stu Cook and John's brother, Tom. Solid. Personal feelings got it. They didn't last as long as they should have, but they were prolific in their time. They put out a ton of material in a short and a hit factory machine. So they're going to be on my list at number 4. Let me just go through the chat, and we'll get into number 3. Sam St. John is, I listened to until I was about 18. By that point, I'd already been out. I haven't listened since, and I still think it's overdone. Yeah, I get that. JT, we're talking Randy, the Blaster. I know that's a favorite of JT's. As American as Apple, recommended all. Jerome Landay. Good afternoon, Hi, Jerome. JT, Creedence, Bruce, and the Dead are his 3, 2, and 1. Great picks. Sam St. John, 100% true. Not a bad song. Even Girl on LSD is and that's in reference to Tom Petty. Very cool. All right, number 3, Glen.
Number 3 is going to be an obscure one to Randy's aware of them, but I don't think anybody else is going to pick banjo guys on their list. But Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, number 3. Yeah. Like I always say, if Bela played a guitar, he would be considered Jimi Hendrix. But he plays a banjo, and people don't like banjos for the most part. But incredible musician. This band is just unbelievable. This album itself, Flight of the Cosmic Hippo, was up for Jazz Album of the Year. I mean, the man has taken the banjo into classical music, into jazz, into rock. He's had everybody from John Anderson from Yes play with him, and Sting, and you name it. People love to play with this guy. He's an incredible musician. This is an incredible band. Victor Wooten, the bass player, was nominated as best bass player in the world. He won that award, I don't know, so many years. I don't think he's got room for the trophies. So just an incredible band, Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. And I've seen them live like 10,000 frickin' times. I've traveled to South Carolina and Massachusetts and Ohio, New York State. I've been all over to see them. I'm like a Fleck head, I guess. So
I love that album cover too, Glenn. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
Speaking of which, we're going to do one of these Fridays. We'll do a top 10 album covers.
That'd be cool.
Be fun.
I will say that all the bands I've mentioned so far I've not seen in concert, but I have seen Bela Fleck and the Flecktones in concert.
Aren't they amazing live?
Yeah, they were amazing.
Yeah.
Very good. Number 3, Randy.
Number 3 is the Beach Boys. This is Surfer Girl. Like you said, they were the competition for the Beatles early on, or actually they had hits before the Beatles broke in the U.S. And this is just an amazing album. This was acoustic sounds, and this album sounds amazing.
Wow.
Surfer Girl and In My Room, the two big hits off here. But Beach Boys could just do no wrong, for the first 10 years. And then Pet Sounds is just amazing, even though it's basically Brian Wilson and a bunch of studio musicians. None of the rest of the Beach Boys are really on there, except for there's a Carl that's singing on
God Only Knows, I think.
Yeah, God Only Knows, yeah.
Yep, great pick. Brian, number 3.
Number 3 for me, I'm going to go back out by the bay. I'm going to pick Metallica here. Now I'm going to preface this and say Metallica, but not the Load, Reload, or Saint Anger albums at all. But everything that they did from the Black Album before, and everything that they did for Death Magnetic and Hardwired are excellent albums. I think what they've done for outside of Black Sabbath, they're one of those bands I think that's done so much for metal and made it so accessible to the everyday guy that I think that their influence, regardless how people feel about them, their influence on that particular genre is just outstanding. So, and I love them. I love their sound. I used to be able to listen to Master of Puppets and go to sleep like a baby. That didn't even bother that sound doesn't bother me at all. So
very good. My number 3 are the Eagles. Big fan of the Eagles, and from their debut right through the long run. Ken Fry, great songwriters. I know they're controversial figures. Kind of give a little dude here, especially Henley. Seem to like him, but deny his singing ability.
Yeah, great. What a vocalist.
Great vocalist. Fits that music perfectly. The arrangements are so pristine, so well thought out. There's not a note missing. They sound great as well. And live, they can duplicate that sound as well, like Glenn has mentioned before.
Yeah,
it's like listening to one of their albums. They're very strong musicians and perfectionists in a way. I know they take a lot of ribbing for their commercialism and selling out and whatever you want to say about them. There you go. The Hotel California album happens to be my favorite, even though it's the one biggest seller, but still every song on there is a gem. Their whole plug's strong, so I got to go with the Eagles at number 3, and the only 2 ahead of it are the 2 I listen to more than the Eagles. So we'll figure out. Let's go through the chat before we get to our last 2. Beach Boys and Tom Petty from John Pepin. Hey, John. Yep. We need a Canadian top 10. Randy's locked in with his REM choice. Athens, Georgia. Yep.
Yeah.
Besides Pet Sounds, Sunflower's favorite Beach Boys album from Josh.
Oh.
Dennis Wilson will around that. Yeah, Dennis Wilson. Died too soon. Lars Ulrich from Denmark, though. Ooh.
What band was he in?
He's in Metallica. Well, we're going to let it go.
Did somebody pick Metallica?
I did.
Oh,
Brian.
I didn't. Yeah, Jesus. I'm having a seniors moment.
Was he raised in the United States? Wasn't his dad a tennis player over here? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
So Brian lost 1 point. I'm writing it down.
I lose -1 point. You can dock me a point.
Yeah.
Take it out of my salary.
Yeah, I agree with that. If America wasn't any good, they wouldn't have George Martin as a producer. It gets ripped a little bit, I guess, for their commercialism too, and they sort of faded as the '70s when they were able to maintain where the Eagles were able to produce one strong album after the next. Tedeschi trucks are phenomenal, says
They
JT.
are.
Coming to Reno soon. Too
Holy
expensive to
smokes!
see.
Look at the
150
price.
to 400.
Whoa! I wouldn't pay to see that either.
Jacket it up. Shocker. Kansas is my favorite American band. That's a prime band.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Good call, though. Lars in Europe till he was 16. There you go.
Wow. We've already docked Brian a point. Get off his ass. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
I thought Scott might say Styx since he did a whole thing on that about them.
Yeah, his dad played in the tour, I believe, and I know he was a professional tennis player.
I didn't know that either. I'm a big tennis fan. I didn't know that.
I don't think he was like ranked very high, but he was on the tour and got his ass beat by some of the legends.
Scott, while you're out there, we need to have a Big Brother live chat. I wonder if there's any Big Brother fans in the BC.
Is Scott a Big Brother guy?
Yeah, huge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
like me. Yeah. It's the same thing. We've been watching it since day one.
Okay, good. All right, we're down to the top two. This is moving along quite nicely. Glenn, what do you have at number 2?
Number 2, Bruce.
Yes.
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
That's right.
I picked Bale at number 3 because I'd seen Flecktones so much, and the only person I've seen almost as much as Bale is Bruce Springsteen, and the greatest live performer ever. That band, the E Street Band, is just one of the great bands of all time. So tight, can play anything. I don't know, what can you say about Bruce Springsteen? Great songwriter, great, just everything. Amazing human being. Just number 2, Bruce.
Great pick. What do you have, Randy?
I just had the Eagles album because I had pulled it, but they were a late cut. I'm sorry, Rich. But
that's okay. I understand.
My number 2 is the Hit Machine, CCR. Yeah. When they were around, I mean, like every song was like it was a great single. The weird thing is when Rich and I were doing their, the number 1 hits. They had a bunch of number 2s, but they never actually made it to number 1.
Number 1.
That's just crazy. But yeah, John Fogerty's he has that swampy vocals that's nobody could sing like John Fogerty.
Yeah, I think if you stopped anybody on the street and asked where he's from, 9 out of 10 people would say he was from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From Berkeley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
California somewhere. I wasn't sure where it was.
Sake.
El Cerrito, actually, but I think it is up in the Berkeley area.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got? Number 2.
Me, I've got Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers here. I'm a big fan of Tom, and everybody's already talked about everything that's going on. I mean, I've got it high. I mean, I think they're a solid. I think they're a solid band. Even if he wasn't in it, I think they would be a solid band. They have really great instruments, and they really play them really well. And somebody had said something about, Tom doesn't make any bad hits. I would think the song Zombie Zoo, that's actually on his solo record, Full Moon Fever, that does count as a bad song by Tom Petty. Just the Heartbreakers weren't involved with that one. So, but yeah, I got Tom here. I like him. So.
Great
awesome.
Pick. My 2 is the same as Glenn's. Bruce Springsteen, E Street Band. It was a call 1 or 2, but the guy to the most now is my number 1. So Bruce taking a back seat, although he's probably, I don't know, he probably has better albums than my number 1, but I just this of my number 1 guy, which I'll get to. But Bruce Springsteen, all his first 8 albums are untouchable for me, all the way through Tunnel of Love, and then started to dip a little bit, and but he came back strong. I think The Rising is a really, really good album. A lot of people like the Ghost of Tom Joad album.
Yeah.
But and the live stuff, like Glenn mentioned, nobody's a better live performer. And he put out such great live albums. That one from 75 to 85 is a real nice package. the one that Glenn just showed where they're playing.
Are you
No
saying
Use.
Bruce has a nice package?
No, I'm not. I'm
Don't
not
you
getting
just
that
said?
personal.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying his packaging of his albums.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
He'll always include like a DVD or a CD. You know, they're
Oh, it's messed
he's
up.
good to his people that follow him. On his greatest hits, he'll put maybe 3 or 4 songs that were never released on an album, and then different stuff like The Promise comes out. I mean, he's always got a vast amount of material for his fans, and they appreciate it. So, number 2 for me, I've seen him 6 times, not as many as Glenn, but every concert was memorable. And before we get to number 1, let's go into our chat because Scott from the Prague Corner Sticks would be right up there for him. Torben, that was the guy's
It
name.
must be Lars.
Yeah, I am a Big Brother freak.
He is a
There
Big
you
Brother
go.
freak. Yes, he is. Yes.
Mm.
Hi, Sam. Love CCR. Yeah, they great pick. There you go,
I'll
Brian.
get my points back for Tom Petty. There you go. But he just took him. He took him away because of Zombie Zoo shade.
Yeah. Hey guys. Okay,
Hey, Basil's back.
Number 1.
Oh, do we
Drum
want
roll.
to tell? Do we want to say who we think they picked before they pick them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we can do that. Let's do that.
All right. So, what do you guys think I picked?
Number 1.
I picked Grateful Dead for I picked Grateful Dead for you.
Okay.
So did I. I picked Grateful Dead.
Oh, see, you guys know them better than I do. And now that I heard the jam band thing, I would have changed it to that, but I had the Eagles down. So
okay.
I don't know them well enough. So I'm like, I was just guessing at this point.
Yeah.
I've got REM for Brian.
Don't say it
As
yet
do
until
I.
it's his turn. We're gonna say we're saying them all now.
Okay.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah.
I picked Velvet Underground for Brian. I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good pick.
That is a good pick, but I took REM too. And I took.
And for Rich, I'm
Springsteen.
wrong. I picked the Eagles. He's already called them.
Yeah.
I picked CCR for Rich, and he's already called them. So
I picked Tom Petty for Rich.
And he's already called them too, didn't you? Oh no, he didn't yet.
No, I
Okay. All right. Okay. So my number
I think
1.
I got everybody. I think I got them all right.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, Randy.
that's
You
good.
guys were all wrong. My number 1 is the Osmonds.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Yeah. Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, but you didn't pick. Nobody guessed mine.
Oh, I picked Springsteen for you.
I picked Springsteen.
I had Beach Boys. So
Adam 3.
Yeah, Grateful Dead.
Happy hippie guy chipping in. He likes the Grateful Dead too.
He's a
Good
Grateful
pick,
Dead
Brian.
guy too. Yeah, JT's going to be happy with me picking the Grateful Dead.
Yes.
And yeah, it's what can you say? They're the Grateful
How many
Dead.
times?
Jerry Garcia, the coolest guy who ever lived. Yeah.
How many times you see him, Glenn?
Only once. Yeah.
Shocking.
It is shocking. Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, so yeah, I wasn't into that whole Deadhead scene thing. I just like the band. Yeah.
Great pick. All right.
Okay.
Randy, what did we pick for Randy again? I had Bruce, Glenn had Bruce, and Brian had the Beach Boys.
Well, it is Bruce.
Yeah.
Springsteen and the Institute Band. The only person out of all my lists that I've seen live, I've seen him like 8 or 9 times. I don't know if I've seen him 10 times or not, but this is an early one. This is when David Sanchez was the drummer, and you had Vinny Mad Dog Lopez. Both those guys left right before Born to Run, and they got Roy Bittan on piano, which he's amazing to listen to Roy Bittan. Like, if you like the Dire Straits album, Making Movies, he's the guy playing the piano on that. And Danny Federici on organ is just amazing too. And you can't wait till the big man comes in with the sax, and just an amazing band live. And I think they also got put in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a band too. The E Street, I think Bruce is in, and then the E Street Band is in separately. So,
yeah,
but they're amazing
for them.
Very good. Well, Brian's up, and I think I picked REM for his favorite. What'd you do?
I did Velvet Underground.
That's a good pick because I know he likes them.
Yeah. I did pick REM here. I think they're an absolute. They're the alternative rock giant in history. I have every one of their albums, you know, and I've been a fan probably since I bought Document when I was actually getting ready to leave for the military, and then after that I became this huge mega fan. They're one of those bands that, you know, they made music for a long time, but they made music their way. They could have they sold over 100 million copies worldwide, but they still, if they could have phoned it in and just made a bunch of albums like Out of Time at the beginning of the 90s, but they didn't do that. Each time they wanted to reinvent themselves and push themselves, and every album, you know, was always different. Automatic for the People, completely different feel. Mm-hmm. Then they changed it up, went rock, and for the Monster album, played around with some experimentation with new ventures in hi-fi. Even after Bill Berry left the band because of health issues, the drummer, they kind of messed around with electronica, and then so their next album, Up, kind of experimented with that a little bit. They just always was a band that did it their way, and I always appreciated them for that. I thought that Michael Stipe is just an incredible, surreal songwriter. I think Randy kind of touched on it a little bit. I mean, his lyrics are always so obscure, but for some reason, it always works and invokes the feel of the song that he's trying to portray. So, big band for me. I love them.
Very good. My number one is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for sure. It was close. I could have went with Bruce. Could have went with the Eagles, but Tom Petty, that he's not with us, really hurts, and never going to see him again in concert, which is hard to take. And no new material. I'm sure there's stuff in the vault that they're going to dust off and send our way, but what a loss. Great songwriter, coolest guy on stage. If you've ever seen him in concert, he just he's got the charisma, and he leads that band so well. I love Mike and Ben Montench. Those guys were with him from day one. And just a great band, true band. So easy number one for me, with a close call for Bruce Dean. Had this been 10 years ago, I might have went with Bruce, but his material rolled off a little bit, whereas Tom, I still go back and listen to him all the time. So that's why he's at number one. And
did all four of us have Tom Petty?
I think that's the only one that all four of us had.
Did we all have CCR?
No, I did not. Brian didn't. Yeah.
I didn't.
I said 3 CCRs, 3 Doors.
Yeah.
2 Eagles, I think.
Yeah, Springsteen was 3 as well, right?
Springsteen was 3.
Yeah, Tom Petty was the only one that was unanimous.
Yep.
So that's surprising to me, but I'm happy with it. Also, the Modern Lovers with Jonathan Richman. See, that's somebody that's escaped me. I never listened to them.
Yeah,
Glen,
me neither.
Randall,
nope.
Brian.
Yeah. I've got some Jonathan Richman. I don't actually have any of the modern. No, I do have one Modern Lovers. I forgot I do.
The Dead, Happy Hippie guy, Rod. Grateful Dead's the essential American band, true American beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call there. Jerry Garcia.
Jerry.
I like Cherry Garcia ice cream, by the way, too, just for the record.
Jerry, there he is, right there.
Caleb, you're right. Tom Petty, my number one by a mile. Yes. Don't to rock.
It's REM song.
Yeah, REM song. That's good. Yeah.
My favorite REM album is Document.
Document's my favorite as well.
Yeah. It's a sentimental favorite for me too, Glenn. Yeah. Good.
Well, I do have it, but it's not my favorite. My favorite's Autumn for the People.
Yeah.
No, but they would have been an interesting band to mention for sure.
Love, yeah.
The Mamas and the Papas, were they all American?
Oh man, Mamas and the Papas, yeah. No,
yeah,
actually
not.
No, Denny Doherty's Canadian.
Oh.
See, okay, there you go.
And actually, I put the Love and Spoonful at Zal Yanovsky was Canadian. I lose a point too.
You're eliminated.
From Kingston, Ontario. Wow.
Wow. See, it's hard to.
You got to do your homework on these things, man.
Good call on Tommy James and the Shondells by Sam St. John. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, Randy picked the Birds.
Zappa,
yeah, Zappa. They were hugely considered, but the Mothers, as a original band, weren't together long enough for me. He broke them up pretty quick, and then everything was kind of just Frank Zappa and whoever he brought in. So I consider him more of a solo artist in this regard.
You know who was my last cut? Was the band Heart, Wilson's sisters.
Yeah. The Birds, Randy picked the Birds, and they're certainly an honorable mention for me.
Birds.
I had the Mr. Tambourine Man album all picked out here to show, but
nobody picked. Let's see, Sly and the Family Stone were overlooked. The Rascals, I love the Rascals. So their music.
Yeah, Rascals that's an amazing pick. Yeah.
Santana, another band from the West Coast.
Although, Carlos wasn't born in the U.S. though, was he?
Is he Mexican or Puerto Rican? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think he grew up in San Fran in that area.
Yeah.
Maybe later. He's identified with that sound, though. Who else out there? Well, you mentioned Airplane and the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
There's some big ones we didn't mention. That's cool.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of you. Yeah.
No Doobie Brothers. No. What else?
No.
70s rock.
Run. What's the? Oh, the Flamin' Groovies. Were they all American?
I don't know.
No idea.
I have no idea. Rascals put me into vinyl. Yeah, the album Groovin's a great album. They're another band like you think of as a hits band, but their albums are solid too. They're not just filler.
Alex Chilton stuff, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pretenders are mostly British though, right? Except for Chrissy Hynde.
Yeah,
Chrissy Hynde's from Ohio.
Yeah.
And the rest of the guys were from Britain, I think.
Yeah.
And two of them after their second or third album. Their drummer was British too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this was a lot of fun.
That was fun. It was fun.
We honor American bands. Next week we'll come up with something. Maybe we'll set an album cover thing for when Brian gets back, so we can join us for that one.
Yeah,
it has to be something in your collection. You have to show the album cover when you do it.
Okay.
That'll be kick. Anyway, subscribe to these guys. Glen Kellaway from the Basement. Links below. Randall Nelson, Massey's Maine Entertainment. Check out Brian and I's Series 1883 currently going on, where we do movies on my channel, music on his. Links below. Everybody for joining in the chat. Have a great weekend, everybody. You guys too. Brian, have a nice vacation. We'll see you when you get back.
Yeah, Brian, have a great holiday.
I appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Be well.